What's up, guys? Hold up. All right. Um. So I thought I should talk about this topic because let me fix myself here. All right. So for the last couple of years, there's been a lot of crazy talk when it comes to masculinity, and we have crazy people on one side with the whole manosphere stuff, and crazy people on the other side with, I don't even know what to call them, like, because they're not really liberals. It's more like um like like woke, maybe progressive type people that are just overcompensating. So it's not really like a monolith, like, but you still hear some terrible advice from them too. And something that I've noticed is that usually men that are very masculine aren't screaming it from the rooftop. Like, you're not like, if you're telling people I'm a very masculine man, you're probably not. You probably want to be and don't know how to, and maybe you have been told this is what masculinity is, so you're trying to like solidify that I am masculine and people must know it. I am the alpha. And it's like, alpha is another weird word because it's like, look, if you're telling people that you're an alpha, you're probably not. It's just how it is. Usually people that are alphas or very masculine are very comfortable with themselves, and they don't have the need to announce it or portray themselves in that way. Like, a very very masculine man that is, I don't know if this person would be actually alpha or would fit some other sort of definition, but someone who is confident and fully realized within themselves, uh, would probably not have hang-ups with, like, well, I'm a man, so I shouldn't be doing this and I shouldn't be doing that, and I can't speak with this tone, and I can't believe these types of things, and blah blah blah, right? Like, usually if you're very confident, you're very masculine, you're somebody that is ready, willing, and able to defend themselves, and you're straight up just uh, like like you are actually a masculine man, then most likely you're just going to do whatever the hell you want, within reason. Like, you're not going to go around smacking grannies and stuff, but I'm talking about, like, when it comes down to it, if you want to baby talk to a fucking puppy, you're probably going to do it and not give a shit. And if somebody wants to give you shit about it, you're probably just going to make fun of them, and it's not that big of a deal. Because someone who's truly, really, really sunken into their masculinity, doesn't feel this, um, like, injured ego type. They don't have this injured ego mentality where if you say a certain thing or if you comment on a certain thing about me, somehow that belittles me and makes me less of a man. And I'm trying to. This is one of the problems when I speak freely, because there's just no structure to what I'm doing here. I'm just talking shit. So I really need to find a way to structure these videos so that, like, it's a little more concise and straight to the point. But look, if you're young or even if you're older and you're trying to be masculine, you're trying to really like go into this masculinity, for whatever reason. Like, for instance, I have no, like, I do not care about masculinity onto itself. Like, I don't need to appear masculine. It's just not something I care about. But when I look at the things that I do and what do I enjoy and the way I like to look, I can't help but to admit that I am more into masculine things. For instance, Uh, I spend a lot of time in the gym, and I'm not doing that because I must look masculine, but I like looking like this. This makes me feel good, right? And I'm not freaking Mr. Olympia, but at least I'm getting there. I've been working out for a year, and in that year I was able to put on a lot of muscle, and you know, um, that's good for me. And I assume that within the next year and a half, maybe 2 years, I should be able to put on at least another 10 to 15 pounds of muscle, which is my goal. I'm trying to get to about 220 pounds at about 20% body fat, maybe, hopefully, maybe a little bit less body fat, but I am not willing to change my diet for less body fat. Like, I will choose cake every single day over a six pack. Like, a six pack literally does nothing for you. And another thing is that I am not that tall, so I can only grow in one direction. I'm not going to grow this way. I can only grow this way, right? So if I want to be heavy, I'm going to need more muscle. And at a certain point, more muscle is just not feasible. It's just not possible. So keeping my body fat a little bit higher is just a better option because it allows me to have more weight on my body. And if you're 120 pounds, 130 pounds, 220 pounds, 230 pounds, around there, you're just better equipped to handle reality than someone that's 160 pounds. Not to crap on you if you're 160 pounds. I would suggest putting on some muscle, maybe eating a little bit more. As you gain muscle, you're able to add a little more fat because, if you gain a large amount of muscle and you gain a little bit of fat, your body fat percentage is still going to be pretty low because that muscle is counteracting the fat, right? So I would suggest getting a little bit bigger, right? But ultimately, if I'm trying to give you advice on masculinity, one of the biggest parts of true masculinity is not giving a shit about masculinity. If you understand the things that I enjoy and the way I want to look and the way I want to behave is like it is more masculine, that's fine. That's just acknowledging the fact. It's just a matter of fact. It's not like I must be this and I must be that. Like, I've heard people say, oh, I can't wash dishes because I'm a man. It's like, what the hell are you talking about, bro? Like, multiple times I have lived by myself, and if I was to live by that, then I would have literally just never washed any dishes, and like at some point I would have just been eating out of the freaking pot that I cooked in, and that doesn't make sense. Being masculine does not mean you can't wash dishes or sweep or mop your house or clean whatever it is you have to clean, your bathroom, your bedroom, the whatever. Like, these, like, cleaning is not a female or feminine thing. And a big part of being masculine is accepting your femininity. And I don't want to present this from this woke, not to crap on woke people. I'm not saying that woke is bad. Like, I'm not one of those people. I'm trying to say there's people that will tell you you need to accept your femininity, and then what they mean by it is like taking on the worst parts of femininity. Like, you need to be very emotional and just be reactive to everything. And it's like, oh, hold on, you don't need to do that, right? Like, I'm talking about, you can put on some muscle, you can learn how to fight, you can learn how to use weapons, you can learn all these things. You can get into philosophy and psychology and science, and you can start going into these different forms of mysticism and esotericism, and you can build yourself an intellectual way of thinking and a spiritual way of thinking, and all of this stuff. And when it comes to emotion, instead of being reactive and super emotional and allowing emotions to control you, you can learn emotional maturity, emotional intelligence, and just learn how to control, like, not necessarily control your emotions, but not suppress your emotions. Allow yourself to feel, understand what you're feeling and why you're feeling it, understand the same things about other people. Oh, this person is feeling like that because of this reason, and then understand how to engage with them through that emotion for whatever reason without being pandering and also without being condescending and stuff like that. You can engage with emotions in a healthy way. You can go into more masculine fields of intellect and spirituality. You can go into masculine fields when it comes to sports and be very physical. And also you can learn how to be very aggressive. You can learn how to unleash violence if you like how to unleash the violence, and then learn how to control that so that you don't use violence, but you have the capability to. It's not, you're like, when it comes to masculinity, um, you're not supposed to be tied to this one concept, right? And the thing is that every single person, whether you're male or female, man or woman or whatever in between, like whatever it may be, there's going to be parts of you that are masculine and there's going to be parts of you that are feminine, right? And you're not supposed to shun either side. If, let's say, you go and you work out for 2 years and you slap on like 20 pounds of muscle and you look like freaking, an Adonis or whatever, and maybe you get real thick, or maybe you get that washboard abs and whatever, that doesn't mean that you can't be kind. That does not mean that you can't act a little childish and stupid and silly. That does not mean that you can't baby talk a fucking kitten, right? Like, if you have a kitten, it's my kitty. It doesn't matter, bro. You can freaking do these things. You can be a little silly. You can do things that someone would not automatically believe that a very masculine man would do. And the reality is that if you are very masculine, then you're going to be very confident, you're going to be very comfortable with yourself, and you're going to be very honest with yourself. And I am the type of person that if I see a dog, I immediately recognize it as a puppy, regardless of age. And I will baby talk to it in public, and that's just final, right? And I will fight you on it. I will fight you on it. So, like, I'm just making this video because I'm not going to say exactly who it is, but somebody that I know has been consuming way too much the right wing of masculinity, and they're at the point where they think that washing the dishes is feminine, and they think that women shouldn't go to the gym, and they think that going to the gym with a woman is embarrassing. And like, they've developed this personality where they can't do anything because everything is embarrassing because it challenges their masculinity. And it's like, why exactly, like, why would you prefer this way of being over just not caring and doing whatever? As long as you're not hurting anybody or breaking any laws, you're pretty much fine, right? And why would you want to do that? And then on the other hand, I've heard people say things like, I watched this video on YouTube a long time ago with this kid, and something happened where his girlfriend like just didn't show up home, and he got scared and he called a whole bunch of people trying to find her, and eventually he called the cops because he thought that something must have happened to her. And then this other guy that's very woke and progressive was like, you don't own her, man. She's allowed to disappear for 2 days without telling you. And it's like, look, bro, if you have a girlfriend and she lives in your house and she disappears for 2 days and doesn't pick up her phone at all, like, this is not normal. All right? Like believing that that's normal and you should allow it, or you should not feel any type of way about it, is absolutely insane. So I'm not trying to push you towards a more progressive way of looking at things or a more traditional way of looking at things. And I say traditional lightly because, like, the manosphere, right-wing masculinity people, they're not traditional at all, right? So, I'm not trying to push you in any of these directions. I'm just trying to show you something very simple, that you don't actually have to choose right or left or center. You could just allow yourself to be whatever it is that you are. And if you want to portray yourself a little more masculine, all you really have to do is put on a little more size, learn how to fight. And the biggest part of it that a lot of people ignore is build character. If you study a lot of philosophy and psychology and sociology and theology and history and sciences, and you engage with different forms of art. Oh, I make music. I do oil paintings and watercolor paintings and pen art and sketches, and I play the ukulele and I play the electric guitar and the blah 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 blah. You do all of these things. You're gonna build a lot of character. You have a lot of things about yourself that you can talk about, and because of that, when somebody else is talking about something that they do or that they enjoy, you might have something in common with them because you're doing so many things. So the biggest part of being masculine is just being very well-rounded, where you're doing a lot of things. There's a lot of components to who you are, and that allows space for there to be depth. If you're a very artistic person, when it comes to words like music, like lyrics and poetry and stuff like that, you're able to express emotions and thoughts in a way that the average person can't. And this gives a lot of weight to your character. When you engage with a lot of philosophical and psychological concepts, you're going to know more about how the person thinks and trains of thought, like schools of thought. This is going to put you in a place where somebody is expressing something and you're able to be like, oh, I completely understand. And you explain what you think they're trying to express. And most of the time they're going to say, wow, that's spot on. That's exactly what I'm thinking or feeling. And sometimes you might move forward and say, this is probably because of these types of thoughts and this type of whatever, right? Psychological factoid, blah blah blah. And from my experience, sometimes you express these things that you know, and they're like, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, that's right on the nose. And people get surprised by this. People get intrigued by this. This causes people to see depth in you. So if you're really trying to be super masculine, you need to understand that masculinity isn't a monolith. There isn't this one golden way of being masculine. To truly be masculine, the biggest part of it is being very confident. And sometimes that might make you seem like a douchebag, but there's a big difference between a playful douchebag and an actual douchebag. So a lot of these right-wing manosphere masculine guys, they are actual douchebags. And I don't want to shit on them, but it's like I've listened to a lot of their content, and that's what I see from them. They have all of these ideas about what women can do and can't do and shouldn't do, and they have all these ideas about how good and great they are, and they sum up their entire character and worth based off of how much money they got, what type of car they got, and most of the time they have to live up to that, so they end up lying. Like there's this one guy who literally spends like a decent amount of his money renting expensive cars just so that people see him in an expensive car, because that somehow shows that he's like a high value man. And it's like, bro, like you don't need that. Just like hop on the fucking train. It's not that serious. Like just take the train, save all that money. And if they're like, oh, you don't got a fancy car, it's like, all right, eat my ass. Like, what the fuck? Like, what do you want? Nigga, like, I'm not gonna spend $200 on a fancy car when I can spend like $3 on a train, right? Like, why the hell am I gonna spend that money to make you feel like I'm something? I don't give a shit what you think. That's what a real man does. It's like, I have no, like, there is literally no desire in my heart to make you feel like I am a manly man. Like, I do not care what you think. So why the hell would I spend like $300, $400 on a car just so that you can pretend to respect me? Because honestly, even if like at the end of the day, it's all showmanship. It's a facade, right? It's not real. Like, even if you do respect me because of that, then what the hell are you actually respecting? Because it's not my car, I rented it. So You know, like it's like buying a big expensive chain, and you literally paid $1,000 to be able to wear it for like a week, and then, but you only have like $3,000 in your bank account, so you just spend a third of your wealth on looking cool for a week, and it's like ridiculous, man. Like honestly, even if I was rich, I would not spend money on crazy jewelry or crazy cars. Like give me like the newest Honda and I'm good, bro. Like these things doesn't do, like personally I have this very niche way of looking at worth, because I do not chase worth, nor do I run from worthlessness. I don't think being worthless is a bad thing, and you know, like this is like it just doesn't matter. Like the idea, the dichotomy between worth and worthlessness is obsolete to me. Like I don't care which one of these two I am at any given moment, and I don't care which one of these two people perceive me as. But because I am able to speak my mind, be myself, articulate my positions, my ideas, put forth advice that's actually beneficial, I am able to engage with people and talk about things that I've learned and things that I have developed within philosophy, psychology, sociology. I'm able to tie some of these ideas to actual stories that happened within history. I'm able to tie some of these ideas with some spiritual, you know, like mystical or esoteric teachings and stories that say, like, where it shows like, look, in this philosophy it says this, and in this particular tradition it also says this, and it's similar, and somehow blah blah blah, this makes some sort of sense within that context of that particular thing. And because of that, if I have a decent conversation with someone, most of the time they'll perceive me as okay, and that's fine. That's all you really need. Like they'll perceive me as like, oh, that person is interesting, or that person is smart to some extent. I don't like the idea of calling myself smart, but most of the time people will perceive me as smart because I engage in a way where I'm bringing up things that are in these types of fields. Sometimes somebody might be talking about a specific emotion, and I'm like, I have a song on that specific emotion, and I'll show them the song, and they're like, holy crap, that's exactly how I feel. And you know, I don't want to toot my own horn or nothing, but I'm just saying, because of the way that I engage with all of these things, when I engage with people, I give off a aura of confidence, of comfortable comfort with self. There's nothing that I'm necessarily running from or running towards. You don't necessarily sense this urgency or desperate, like this. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, but pretty much like this desperate aura, like where a person needs to be accepted or needs to be perceived in a specific way. And you know, because of that, um, and because of the way I look, I'm not sure how I look on camera, because honestly, I can see myself on the screen, and I do not look as big as I actually am in real life. But I'm decent, you know. Like I'm about 220 pounds, and I'm pretty short, so 210 pounds, and I'm pretty short, so that's pretty heavy for my height. Um, but just based off, you know, having a little more muscle, being engaged with certain sports like MMA and stuff like that, um, having access to all of these different types of information, like because of this information and my artistic pursuits, there's depth to my character, which means that I am capable of maintaining a conversation and also diverging into side conversations and keeping things fun. And also, I try not to do it too much on the internet because I don't want to lose my channel. But I tend to be pretty funny if you like absolute absurdity. If you enjoy very raunchy, edgy, absurd jokes, I might be able to make you laugh. But, you know, it's the internet. I don't want to say something crazy and ends up, getting canceled before I even get 20 subscribers. So, but the point is, what I'm trying to get at, this is not just me wagging my dick. This is just me trying to show that if I want to portray myself as masculine, the idea of being masculine or needing to be masculine is never going to do it for me. What I actually should do is work out, put on some muscle, try to be competitive in something. Personally, I think if I'm going to take my time to be good at a sport, it might as well be combat, because that's something that will always be needed at some point. You might take 10, 20 years without fighting a single time in the real world, but the day that you need it, you're going to be very happy that you have it. And like if I'm a dancer and somebody tries to mug me, I'm not going to be able to like challenge him to a dance off, or like challenge him to like I'll tell you what, man, if you can dunk on me, I'll give you my wallet. Like, how good I am at basketball or freaking golf or some crap like that just isn't going to do something for me in the long run. Not saying that these sports are bad. If that's what your thing is, then do that. But I personally don't enjoy those sports, and I do enjoy fighting, and I see more benefit from learning how to fight and learning how to use weapons and like cool stuff like that, right? Like something that I really enjoyed was freaking horseback riding, and it's like, and crazily enough, like I suppose I was a natural, because the first time I rode a horse, the guy explained to me how to ride a horse, and I just got on, and I was like, got it. I like went around a little slow for a minute, checked out the controllers like it was a video game, and then I just booked it, and the guy was like, no, you're gonna fall, and I booked it down the thing, and then I slowed down and just came back at a cruising pace, and it was fun as hell. So I just kept developing that, because I think that being good at driving cars is great, but there might be a situation where you're in a location where you can't drive vehicles, so you should probably learn how to drive different types of vehicles, and also animals like a horse, blah blah blah. But long story short, what I'm really trying to say, if you're trying to be masculine, go to the gym, get strong, get jacked, learn how to fight, and then just the rest of your time when you're resting, like you might be watching some movies, playing some video games. Whenever you're not doing that, study. Just learn different topics, get into different arts, try to find ways to express yourself, and at the end, you will end up being a well-rounded individual that can have an interesting conversation, other than saying the term 304 500 times in one conversation, as if I want to talk to you because you're mean to women. Like, I honestly do not care about how many times you called Becky a 304 and how much she deserved it. Like, that doesn't motivate me to communicate with you again, and I do not perceive you as a manly man because of it. A very feminine man can say those things just as confidently as a masculine man, and it doesn't ring true with me. I'm not saying that you should praise every woman in the world at all times. If a girl does something stupid, it's okay to say it's stupid. If a girl is being a total cut, you can say that she's being that, right? If a girl says something that's just the most just obnoxious, terrible thing, it's okay to be like, hey, you're kind of lame and obnoxious, and I don't like you. It's okay to be a little mean, but to sum it up as all women bad and all women 304, and then not even just to say that, but to then repeat it 500 times in a conversation, and then every single conversation is pretty much the same conversation, is like, at what point are you just gonna like get over it and talk about something else? So yeah. And I don't want to stick. I'll probably give it 5 more minutes because I don't want to like make it all about the right wing. But those are the ones that are a little more annoying. People on the left are like very split up. There's a lot of people that say things that are sensible and like, yeah, that makes sense. But then you have your people where it's like women are right all the time, women need to be praised all the time, women need to be allowed to do absolutely anything at any moment. And I want to preface that last statement because I'm not saying that you should prevent or prohibit women from doing something, but I'm talking about specifically like in a situation where it's like a significant other and stuff like that. Obviously, if you're in a relationship, there's going to be some sort of rules unless you decided on being completely lawless and you're both going to just do whatever you want. Then that's what you chose. But just saying, hey, you're a woman, therefore you could do absolutely anything you want, whenever you want, isn't the answer all the time. Obviously, they have freedom; they can do whatever they want. But depending on the situation, the context changes. So, like, if I have a girlfriend and she disappears for 3 days without calling or anything, meanwhile she sleeps in my bed, she lives in my house, and she just disappeared, I'm gonna assume that she got kidnapped or like murdered or something like that. So if you come back and it was like, oh yeah, I was just hanging out with the girls, like, grab your stuff, get the hell out of my house. Like, I'm not dealing with this type of shit, right? I am not dealing with this. So maybe that sounds a little like the right wing guys, but to like a very progressive person. But the reality is, like, if you were gonna spend 3 days at some homegirl's house, you could have called, you could have let me know so I don't go crazy calling everybody and their mother and making police reports and all of this crazy stuff because I thought somebody literally like just like freaking Peter Panned your ass. Um, so yeah, so like there's limits to everything. So the left wing type thing, and also these left wing type people create like very dangerous type thing narratives because I've heard some of them say like the girl has no responsibility in anything, and I know that one's a tricky one because yes, if a man does something bad, the man is at fault. But if you tell a girl to go out into the world and to talk to strange men and date strange men and to have no responsibility over what happens, then she is not going to be aware of any red flags. She is not going to be looking out for things that are clear reasons to run the freak away, right? And this is not so much of a thing where the woman is at fault. I think the person telling her this is at fault because if this woman just doesn't understand the full scope of things that can happen and you make her believe that she is safe because she should be safe, then this woman might be a prime target for a predator of some sort. So, there's a lot of things that the people on the left say that are clearly wrong and are just as crazy. And my biggest thing is that the right wing type people are very crazy and annoying. But when it comes down to the left wing people, it's not so much that what they're saying is absolutely wrong. It's just that the way they present it and the way they teach it to women, I feel is dangerous. I think a lot of their advice that they give to women are literally putting those women in danger. And it's like, um, so this is just not the right way. And then they're trying to teach men to accept all of this. So literally, like, so where the right wing is telling you you must be this, must be that, blah blah blah, the left is telling men you need to accept all of these things regardless of how they make you feel. And if it does make you feel bad, then you're the bad guy. And this is just another absurd claim, another absurd way of looking at things, and it's just stupid. So yeah, so if you're trying to be masculine, whether you're very young or wherever you're at in life, best case scenario is stop caring about masculinity and just start going to the gym. Put on some muscle, get jacked, and start. Probably go take some boxing, some Muay Thai, maybe learn some grappling and wrestling. Play around with these types of things. You'll be able to defend yourself. You'll be able to defend your loved ones. You'll be bigger and stronger, right? Just keep going to the gym. Find a good method of getting stronger and bigger. Um, Once your bench press is like 300 pounds, you're a decently strong person. But if you can get it up to like 400 pounds, that's going to be better. If you can bench press 400 pounds, your arms are pretty much like strong legs, right? Just just do the basics. Bench press, deadlift, squat, overhead press, bent over row, and then accessories. Work on your biceps, your triceps, do some lateral raises to get some bigger shoulders. My shoulders aren't that big because the fat is covering it. I need to start working on some lateral raises, get my shoulders a little bigger. If you want to look masculine, I would say put a lot of work into your back and shoulders, because the bigger your back and shoulders are, the wider you look. So as you can see, if I flex, I look a lot bigger because I'm puffing my chest. My back is fully spreading out. And if your back is big, your shoulders are big, you're gonna look wider. You're gonna look more masculine. And then after that, it's all about the contents of your character. Just be interesting, be smart, be emotionally intelligent. Don't be an ass, right? Try to understand where people are coming from. Try to be as accepting as you possibly can be without violating your own, code, like your own way. Like at some point, it's okay to be like, look, I'm trying to be understanding, but you're nuts. Like at some point, you're gonna have to be like, hey, look, like I'm very, very, I don't try to judge, but you're making me want to judge you, you know. But like yeah, but just try these types of things, and I think you're gonna be a-okay. Especially if you're young, you're gonna have a lot of newbie gains. If you're still in your teens, you have tons of years of growing. Try if you're in your teens or early 20s, try to stay away from like special workout supplements. It's not necessary right now. Try to put in as much work as you can. If you start off with 2 days a week at the gym, and after like a year or two, increase to like 3 days, eventually 4 days, you'll be fine. You'll put on a good 5 pounds of muscle a year. You know. So yeah, like I said, you want to look masculine, dump a lot of work into your back, your shoulders, your arms. Don't forget your legs, because your posterior chain is ultimately the most important part of your body when it comes to strength. That's gonna like be your real base. So try to make sure that you're hitting all of the important muscle groups, and those 5 exercises that I mentioned really hit everything. Do a lot of rows, a lot of pull downs, and at first try to focus on size. Once you've reached a decent size, start focusing on strength. Pick up some tricks when it comes to fighting. Learn some Muay Thai, maybe some other stuff like kickboxing and blah blah blah. You have to learn some grappling and wrestling, because this is very important to combat. Maybe do some Kali, like with like traditional Filipino martial arts. You're gonna learn a lot of fighting when it comes to um, weapons. And this is going to be the essence of your outward expression without verbal, extra crap involved. This is just the way you look and the things you're capable of doing. Everything else is just your character. Be interesting, be funny, try to be smart. Learn. The best way to be smart is just read a lot. If you're going to spend 8 hours on YouTube, you might as well be watching videos about philosophy and psychology and, audio books and blah, blah, blah. And you don't have to do the exact thing that I did. Find some sort of topic that you're interested in, learn everything there is about it, and then start thinking about it so that you can diverge from what you learned. Some people will hear about Stoicism, watch about 100 hours worth of Stoicism videos, and then they become a Stoic. And then now their entire personality is what they saw on YouTube. And they probably haven't even they probably didn't go to school for it, so they don't really know like the deep down inner workings of Stoicism. Like, I've read about Stoicism, I watched a lot of stuff about Stoicism, but I am not a Stoic. I just take the parts of Stoicism that are good, and the crappy parts I throw to the side. Like, I don't have to read a philosophy and then become it. Like, I can develop my own stuff based off of my particular desires and goals that I'm trying to achieve. Like, you don't have to become the thing you study. Just study it, learn it, and then try to develop your own thing so that you can be unique and so that you're expressing your most authentic self. And this is the stuff that girls are going to like. This is the stuff that is going to make you look more masculine, seem more masculine, and ultimately make you look like a more interesting human being. Alright, guys. Gun show. Damn, I really got to work on these. My peaks aren't that great. I'm starting to get some lines here, but I really got to get that peak bigger. I want to add at least 2 more inches to the biceps. My triceps are decent, but I got to make those biceps a little bit better, or else I'm going to look silly when I show the guns. Like I'm pretty much showing one of those little pink pellet guns that girls get as their first gun. But soon, I'm gonna be freaking jacked. Alright, guys, so just do the stuff I told you. You don't have to do it exactly how I said it. Find some stuff you're interested in, learn about it, become interesting, become funny, put some muscle on your body, and you'll be fine. Don't waste your time with a 4-hour video where the term 304 was used like 400 times. You're not going to learn anything from it, and you are not coming away from that video with a Bugatti and a hot Instagram model girlfriend. Like, that's just not going to happen. But if you don't believe me, I forgot the name of those guys that I think they're gone from YouTube now, but they used to have a really big channel. They threw some party on a yacht, and then turns out it wasn't a yacht. It was like like some other cheap type of boat, like a fucking tugboat or some shit. I don't even know. It was like some cheap, like weird type boat that wasn't even a yacht. And then there's all these supermodel, like Instagram models on it, and you would think that it's like, oh yeah, the high value men are here. Turns out those girls went to the other side of the boat, did their own thing. They were twerking on each other, and all the guys just got around like a little circle jerk and started dancing in a little circle by themselves, because none of those guys can pick up girls. None of those guys can do what they claim that their philosophy is going to get you to do. And a lot of those guys aren't rich. They're just, some of them by chance do get some money, but a lot of them just portray themselves to have money and don't actually have that much money. So like, if you want money, don't listen to them. Just like get a job or figure out some type of way that you can get money. Because not everybody can work a regular job. So there are some limitations to some of us, but you can always work around them. So just figure out what you want to do with yourself. But please don't get trapped by these weird people on YouTube. And I know technically that would make me one of them, but at the end of the day, I think the results will speak for themselves. If you do the basic stuff that I told you, go to the gym, get strong, get get bigger, learn how to fight, and then start studying a lot of stuff and learn how to have an interesting conversation, and also try to be emotionally intelligent. So, try to understand your own emotions, how to address them, how to be able to experience them without letting it overwhelm you or letting it cause you to be reactionary, and also learn how to interact with other people when they're having really big emotions. Um, you know, try to involve yourself in something artistic so that you have this ability to express yourself and express emotions and express things that are just not you're not is not a verbal thing anymore. It's more of a you know um, whatever it may be. But if you do these things, you're gonna become well rounded, and then all you got to do is slap a lot of memery on top of it. Just try to be funny. Don't try to be funny. Just um, when you're thinking about things and you have a thought and it's like, oh, that's kind of absurd, then think a little harder about it, because usually when something is very absurd, you can turn it into a joke, and eventually you'll get used to it, and jokes will just fly off the tongue. And if you're interesting, you're smart, you're emotionally intelligent, and you make people laugh, and you also happen to be a little jacked, you're going to give off that masculine vibe, and people are going to enjoy being around you. So, I think that's about it. Peace out, guys.